Okay, with that done, we have on our very top agenda the Rotary prayer. I would encourage us to. Okay, AG Eukaria, please lead us in Rotary prayer, please. Maiji, are you there? Okay. Okay. My POP, Veteran Emeke Ilegunam, can you lead us in Rotary prayer?
Okay, my audience. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let us pray in the Rotary way. Inspire us. As Hello?
We can hear
Please
you.
let us pray. Okay. Inspire us all as Rotarians, oh Lord, we pray to live more as we profess, to serve in selflessness and live in brotherhood. Having come here today, we ask that you be with us and guide us to achieve our purpose. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that. I think that is the municipal version of Rotary prayer that got all of us lost, but the message is well taken. Good evening, everyone, once more, and welcome to today's very important pre-election briefing. I'm scanning to see if other district peace chairs are here. We're expecting DGE Emeke from District 9141. We're expecting PAG Chester from 9110 and PAG Dennis Ekemezi from 9142. I hope they're here to take their welcome remarks, because we have to be expedient so that our district governors could get on with other evening engagements, as they have a lot lined up already. Okay, I want to first congratulate all of us for this historic period. My DG Grace, I acknowledge you, Ma, you're welcome. Please, if you join us, kindly mute. If you're here, kindly mute. We've already configured the system so that those that newly join are automatically muted. So those on the call, kindly mute till you want to say something or volunteer an intervention. Congratulations, as I was saying, on this historic period. Tomorrow we'll be making history, and it's something that we're all proud of to be associated with. With no further ado, I think PAG Dennis, District Peace Chair for 9142, is on the call. My Peace Chair, PAG Dennis.
Yeah.
Yes, please, we're expecting a welcome remark from you so that we can quickly get to item 3. And, all right.
Please, I'm driving.
Okay. So, please, you can mute.
Let me join you 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry about that interference. Like he said, he was driving and we could hear so much noise from his ends. Okay, I want to refresh our memory on a few snippets that we released sometime 2 weeks ago, because perhaps we might have read and forgotten. It was important that we do this so that it could serve as a reminder, after which our district governors will talk to us, and we will also be hearing from the National Inter-Country Committee chairs of Nigeria and Great Britain, respectively. And then after that, a vote of thanks will be volunteered to these very distinguished Rotarians so that they may take their leave and continue with the rest of the evening while those going to the field would finish the remaining parts of the program. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. For those who might have read and forgotten, or for those who did not read, this is an opportunity for us to peruse this once more and remind ourselves of why we are getting with tomorrow's engagement. I don't know, is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I can see.
Thank you very much for that response. Okay, so this will be treating, will be very quickly, we are looking at frequently asked questions, so that this is, the objective of this is just to refresh our memory and have some things in our mind for tomorrow. So please, I'll quickly run over this. I won't be reading it verbatim, but just the key issues. Now, the question is Rotary an accredited election monitoring organization for 2023 Nigeria general elections? And our response is, we are not a monitoring organization. Monitoring is strictly the duty of the Independent National Electoral Commission, in this case, INEC. They are the statutory agencies for monitoring. We are simply observers. And what that means is that we don't get involved with the process. We only observe and take note of what is happening. So we do not interfere. If we have a reservation about how a few things are going, we note it down and make recommendation. If we must point something out, we can only discuss with the INEC official or the security agencies. As election observers, we do not have business interacting with the electorates. Please, let's bear that in mind. Okay. Now, to further simplify this, there are four key things we need to bear in mind as election observers and the differences. Now, an election monitor exercises some level of lawful authority. And when we say lawful authority, that is INEC over the conduct of elections. Please, let's mute our mic. Rotarian Sheriff Hussein, kindly mute your mic. Secondly, sorry about that, please. Okay. A monitor can issue instructions and take decisions on behalf of INEC. Of course, you will agree with me that Rotarians don't have that capacity. We can't issue or direct INEC on what to do or how to do their job. So reports of election observers assist election monitors to address flaws in the conduct of elections. So this is the whole summary of our objective. Our report will help reinforce the democratic process. Okay, going to the next question. How would election observation contribute to the Rotary image? Now, we address this by looking at the vision of Rotary, which says, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. So this is simply talking about collaboration. We collaborating and working closely with INEC and government body helps reinforce democracy, help reinforce government institutions, help reinforce the faith or the trust the populace have in the system. Now, what are the objectives of Rotary districts in Nigeria's election observation? Now, our objectives are simple. First is to improve public confidence in the process, like I mentioned earlier. Second is to make objective recommendations that would improve the electoral processes. Third is to observe the election through the peace lens. That is to observe the inclusivity and peaceful conduct of the 2023 general election. Later this evening, the ICT chair would be walking us through the data reporting system and its content. It was posted earlier. I hope we've had time to look at it to see the content of the questions. If you look at those questions, you would see the apolitical nature of the question. Our objective is to ascertain the level of inclusivity of the whole process. Okay, so lastly, what we're aiming to achieve also is to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that can be harnessed to advance peace and strengthen the democratic process. So these are the objectives of Rotary getting involved in election observation in Nigeria. Now, the question of how prepared are Rotarians for this exercise? You will agree with me that there's been several levels of engagements from the 1st of February capacity enhancement to the training and engagements we've had just this week with INEC and other briefings, including what we are doing today. These are all geared towards sensitizing and resensitizing, reminding Rotarians of their duties, roles, and responsibilities as election observers. Okay, how many election observers would Rotary be deploying for the 2023 general elections? So we are deploying 100 election observers. We have 100 as observers and 31 as state contact officers. The duties of a contact officer is to coordinate the observers to make sure that they do their duties efficiently by helping to facilitate some of the things they facilitated just this week, collecting IDs, collecting kits, helping them liaise with the HODs of INEC and all that. So that is their duty, while the election observers are the core observers of the process. Of course, the contact persons can double of observers where necessary or where they have, where it's convenient for them or influence. So, but statutorily and on record, we have 100 observers. Now, coming to the issue of what to observe, this is very, very important so that we don't go and observe what we shouldn't be observing. The INEC chairman really emphasized and used that word on Tuesday. So when he said that, the whole people in the hall were asking him, what are we going to observe that we're not supposed to observe? You know, but he didn't answer that and only emphasized on these very key things. So number one thing we have to observe is to ensure that the framework for election observation, that is the provisions for our electoral system, is adhered to. Please, can we mute our mic? Kindly mute your mic, please. Second is to ascertain the, to assess the electoral or political environment, talking about the process leading to tomorrow's activity. So you will notice that there were lots of briefing on Wednesday across the country. How was this conducted? Also, sensitive materials have arrived. I'm aware that some state contact persons were on ground to take inventories and see how secure these materials got to their respective destinations, as the case may be. Those are part of what we are to be observing, including tomorrow's electoral environment, the orderliness, the decorum, the security, the accessibility, the inclusivity. All those are what we're supposed to observe. Number three, arrangements affecting the safety and security of election officers, voters, and other participants. Like I just mentioned, we're to observe the security, how secure the environment is. Number four, management of electoral logistics. That's what we also did this week. The integrity of the electoral preparations, including voter registration and voter education. Number six, the degree of political competitiveness. Number seven, the inclusiveness of the electoral system, civic education, and the extent of citizens' participation. And the last, the extent of human rights violations and election-related violence. Now, to address this, we've done a good work thanks to the ICT lead team, Rotary in Israel, who developed a very comprehensive checklist for Rotarians so that it will be easy to manipulate some of these things in terms of filling them. We know that Rotarians are professionals, very busy people, and we wouldn't want something that will stress us. So there are lots of couple of yes or no answers and a few places where we'll be taking inputs. Okay, what are the importance of election observations? Of course, we know this from the tip of our head. What are the reasons for election observation? Now, I would like to quote this verbatim as submitted by the Director of Monitoring and Voter Observation. Now, she says that election observation is not just an exercise, but a process that adds immeasurable value to the electioneering process. INEC needs independent supervisory bodies to observe the process so as to affirm or debunk what INEC claims to be doing. Election observers are to provide unbiased assessment and proffer recommendations to INEC to improve the electoral system. So that is the reasons for observation. We are the unbiased arbiter, we are the neutral body. We are to say what we saw, but while saying it, we say with some level of rationality. We encourage the system, and of course there's room for improvement. And that is where our recommendations comes to play. Who is an observer? That is yourself, myself, all of us on the platform on this call is an observer. Now, what are the responsibilities of observers on election day? It goes on and on. I would advise us to read this and digest it at our own time. What are the rights and privileges of election observer? So our rights and privileges includes access to polling units, collation centers, and offices, access to information that will aid our work, attend trainings which we've attended, right to communicate with every other person than the voter. So we can communicate with security agencies, we can communicate with INEC officers, but we are not, with capital NOT, please, allowed to communicate with the voters, please. So right to protection and security during the election process. Later I'll be talking a bit more on security so that we know how to handle ourselves out there come tomorrow. Also, accredited observers have the right. Also, accredited observers have the right to observe all phases of the electoral process with access to all registration, polling, and collation centers. Now, group is entitled to get official election observer kits. Unfortunately, we only got ID card as the government didn't have resources to produce other kits. So we also have rights to obtain informations. Okay. Now, what are the... Rotary Esther, please stop unmuting your mic kindly. It's interfering with our presentation, please. No. Okay, what are the principles of INEC engagements? I advise us to digest this on our own as well. What are the obligations of the observer organization to INEC? So our obligation is first to ensure that after tomorrow, within 72 hours, we send a synopsis of what we observed. That is after the polls have ended and the results collated and announced. 3 days from then, we are expected within those 3 days to submit a summary of our activities, what we observed and everything. Of course, no report is to go to INEC without the prior knowledge of our district governors. The district governor of District 9110, 9125, 9141, and 9142 must see every report that is to go to INEC. And the way it's been structured is that the report emanates from the field, from our election observers, straight to the peace committee platform. And we at the back end will process this and review it, make it readable for our district governors and send it to them for them to vet. So they will vet the first summary within 3 days, we send to INEC, and then a comprehensive report will be developed thereafter. Within 6 weeks, our district governors will also vet this, endorse it before we send it to INEC as well. Reports of observation, I also advise we digest this at our own time. These 3 highlighted frequently asked questions that I've recommended for us to digest will be posted immediately after this meeting so that we take our time to read it on our own, please. What are the levels of reporting for Rotary districts in Nigeria? I just told us about the levels of reporting, primary, secondary, and final reporting. The primary is what the electronic form will be doing, gathering informations and sending to the back end of the peace committee server. And the secondary is where we analyze this data and put it into a workable format for our district governors to be able to digest swiftly. And the final report is after it has been reviewed by our district governors and endorsed before we can forward it to INEC. What are the codes of conduct for election observers? Please pay attention. These codes of conduct can make or mar our status as an accredited organization. We wouldn't want this outing to be our first and last, but rather we would like to grow from strength to strength. So the code of conduct, 1 is election observers are to adhere to instructions from all relevant bodies. And those relevant bodies include INEC, police, and other agencies of government. Secondly, they are to observe. You can see the observing quote. They are to observe the process, not to monitor. At the beginning, I already differentiated the monitor from observe, so please have that in mind. And lastly, as an observer, you are required to bring any perceived irregularities to the attention of the INEC officials, in bracket, presiding officer or supervisor, but don't interfere. Anything you notice, any abnormality you sense, you bring it to their attention, but you are not to interfere. If you witness anybody doing anything abnormal, drinking or smoking or buying votes, you have no business talking with the person. You just talk to the INEC official or the security agencies, please. Okay, is Rotary and okay, so distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've taken all there is about the frequently asked questions. And at this juncture, I would most gladly love to yield the floor to our district governors to drive some points home and charge us accordingly to be energized for tomorrow's activity. Please, I would like our district governor from District 9125 as the first DG to be on the call. So please have the floor. Did you got it, sir? You have the floor, sir. Okay. My DJs, are you still here? Okay. DG Grace, please, ma, you have the floor. I think DG Godi just stepped out. He was on the call all the while. My DG, you are muted.
Okay, good evening.
Good
Hello,
evening, ma.
Rotarians, especially the chair ICC, Nigeria, DG and Wole. And then let me start by appreciating the organizer of this briefing. That is Rotarian praise through Uzochukwu, because it was necessary for us to touch earth before we actually engage ourselves in the assignment, being a novel one. I hope I'm being heard.
Yes, ma, loud and clear.
Let me also join Pietro to congratulate all of us who are successful in this appointment as domestic independent observers for the 2023 elections. I know that we have our preferences as far as this political or democratic process is concerned, but having decided to volunteer to observe this election without being coerced, it means you have shedded off all your lines towards choice candidates or parties. You have to be unbiased in whatever you are doing. If you were at the training, I said you are Rotary ambassadors as these observers. And I still maintain you are Rotary ambassadors. You have been given identity cards that have barcodes which means they can be verified. Your IDs can be verified. That is what it means. So if you are required to identify yourself, you should be able to present your ID. I understand some of us didn't get IDs, probably because they didn't fill the online form. I don't know what happened eventually, but I know that if you fill the online form and provided the necessary things we are required to provide, definitely you will get an ID. So I don't know what happened with those who didn't get. Pietro, I think I'm in a better position to answer that. I want to encourage us in this assignment. It is the first, yes, but it is the one that will either put us on a very good pedestal or even draw us back. I have been around town and I have felt the pulse of society. Unlike before, everywhere seems to be very calm. Unlike in previous elections, where you will see fleet of convoys here and there moving around with noisy sirens and things like that. I think the atmosphere is more peaceful this time and calm. And because it's more peaceful and calm, let us not take it for granted and also be very, very sensitive to our safety too while we do this job. We don't need to, if there is any form of violence, you don't need to get into that place. You keep your distance. You're only expected to observe, not monitor, not engage in negotiations with the electorate. No. Remember, you will be wearing an identity that has Rotary on it. And if you are, of course, you know that everywhere is camera. All the phones are cameras. And you are caught in camera. And it goes viral. Because in minutes, you are caught in camera doing what you're not supposed to do, it goes viral. We are all adults. We should be able to protect the image of our districts. If this is done well, I am sure that Rotary in Nigeria would have earned a kind of recognition globally. But it depends on us all as individuals and collectively. You know the rules. You have attended the trainings. We have said that certain things are not working out as it is now. Fine. It does not concern you, whatever is happening with the electorate. Watch and then put down something. If they tell you you don't have to go get close to so and so place, don't argue. From every distance, you can always watch what is happening. You can also use your cameras to pick certain things if there is need. But don't ever be biased. And don't talk much. Keep your mute and watch with your eyes and take note with your pads and pick. And you don't have to report bias issues about any group. What you are observing is the system, how it is going on, what is happening, and then probably recommend for better future democratic process. Please be mindful of your safety and security. When you are going, ensure you carry, the weather is very hot now. Carry water or soft drink or biscuits or something like that you will snack on, so that you don't get involved in looking for where to get something and then get into the wrong hands, please. We wouldn't want you to be seen negotiating with anybody, because you wouldn't know who is who. Do your work, give your reports, and then turn back. The district governors definitely will know those who did what they are supposed to do well. And I'm sure during the discussion, this may come up with some kind of recognitions if you did well. Read up what you have asked to read up and arm yourself with the necessary information. Because when you are identified, you may be asked some questions which you are supposed to know, basically, having attended the training that was held for you. I wish you all the best. I believe by this time,
Thank you, ma'am.
Tuesday, we will be getting reports of what happened in the field. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my district governor, for those very, very, very emphatic submissions. I'm sure that Rotarians have it engraved in their hearts and minds. Okay, I've messaged DG Godi. I know that something came up and he was not supposed to stay long, but I hope he rejoins us. Also, we'll be expecting DG Lawson. There's a peace conference today and post-conference activities as well. So the other DGs might be joining us at any moment. They could be gate crashing and would address us as we progress. But at this juncture, I would like to yield the floor to the district governor nominee, who is the Rotary Intercountry Committee, the national lead of Rotary Intercountry Committee of Nigeria, DGN Wole Kukoyi. My chairman, sir, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much. If you all hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start by recognizing DG and Grace for that very practical and broad speech and instructions and observations that she gave. Thank you so very much. You have made the job easier, your speech. We also recognize all the district governors that will be joining us later. Also saw DG&I 125 earlier. I'm sure he'll come back to join us. I'm sure my own DG too will join us to make some remarks. I want to thank all the Rotarian volunteers that are here with us this evening. And in doing so, I want to congratulate you for being chosen as the observers for this election. And let me also congratulate Nigeria because we have come a long way in the political history. And today is another very important one, being the eve of election for another democratic handing over from democratic to democratic process. Pietro has actually made a lot of comments, and the FAQs that he dealt with, I think, are very important for all those that will be participating in this process. And I want each and every one of them to take everything that he has said very seriously, because whether we will succeed or fail at this process depends on how seriously we take all those answers to the frequently asked questions. For Rotary in Nigeria, this is the very first time that we are involved in the election process, either at the stage of voter education or has been appointed as election observers. And for that reason, we need to take everything so seriously, because this is going to be a watershed in the history of Rotary Nigeria. And I want to thank the DGs that made possible the multi-district peace building and conflict prevention committee that is sort of midwifing this observer status that we are talking about. Inter-country committee, ICC, of course, we all know that it's also actively involved in peace building initiatives across the globe as part of advancing international understanding and goodwill. But in doing this, I mean, in this observer status, tomorrow's election, we need some caution. And some of them have already been highlighted by DG Grace, and maybe for emphasis, I also want to point to a few of them. Rotary, as we all know, I believe we're all Rotarians on this platform, and it won't be news to us that Rotary has a political stance. And I want to advise that in doing the observation tomorrow, Rotarians should not engage in whatsoever with any political parties or their agents. And I think this has been made pretty clear and important by Lieutenant Pietro. And I think as Rotarians, we should all be guided by the four-way test and the object of Rotary in every dealing that we'll be engaged in tomorrow. Because by wearing the Rotary logo, either on the shirt or whatever form, we are making a statement that yes, these are Rotarians, and of course the public knows what Rotary stands for, and it will be good if we don't go outside the tenets of what Rotary preaches. I'm sure we all know what observer means, and it has been also adequately explained many times by Lieutenant Pietro. Observation is to be done with the eyes only. And yes, we are going there to see and not to do any other thing. I think that is why it is called observation. Anything that you observe, just come back and document them. We are not to take any action whatsoever with what we observe. Just go there and see, and then report. And as DG Grace also emphasized, I want to plead that we avoid any situation that will expose any of you observers to danger. This is very important to us, because in everything that we do, Rotary values our safety and security. And I want to repeat that we try and avoid any situation that will bring the name or the image of Rotary to public doubt or ridicule. And I do hope that at the end of this process, this pilot activity that we're embarking upon tomorrow is a sort of experimental one. And I hope that we'll be making a bold statement to other countries that yes, we can manage this properly and in the right way. And I'm sure that it will broaden the scope of Rotary's intervention or involvement in the peace building process after this experience. It also has the capacity or potential of actively engaging in peace efforts before, during, and after the election process. And I do hope it will become an example to follow if we do it right and get it right this time. I want to congratulate you once again for being part of this novel idea, action. And I want to thank Rotary and Pietro for all the activities and all the efforts he has made in bringing this to fruition. The success of tomorrow depends on all of us as Rotarians. And if we do it well this time, I'm sure we'll get accolades from both Rotary Nigeria and internationally. And all the doubts that everybody has been having about this will fizzle out, and they will become a champion that other countries will follow. I congratulate you, and I pray that everything will go on smoothly tomorrow. We won't have any cause to regret this action that we are stepping into. Once again, I thank all the district governors. I thank Pietro, indeed all those who have made this evening's meeting possible. I think it's very important that we have this meeting so that we can all be on the same page. Thank you very much. I wish us success tomorrow. I pray that everything will work out fine for the Rotarian observers and to Nigeria at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my chairman, for those submissions. Everything will work out well indeed for Rotarians and Nigerians at large. PAG Dennis, my district peace chair, please give a vote of thanks to our district governor and our DG and the national chair of Rotary Intercountry Committee in Nigeria.
The opportunity has not been very easy, but I think by God's grace, we have succeeded in packaging this very first national assignment or engagement. And it wouldn't have been successful by now if our leaders were not in support of what we did. I wish to congratulate them by first thanking them for the enormous courage and the trust they have on us. And we'll also be grateful to them for the opportunity to single each and every one of us out to be part of this national engagement. Of course, part of that international engagement as far as Rotary is concerned. It is our duty and responsibilities as volunteers to showcase this new baby Rotary has born, a very serious gift to Nigeria as a nation. I think it's the expectation of all of us that after tomorrow, Rotary will be known as is written as part of the peace process in election management in Nigeria. On this note, I want to thank everybody, our leaders, especially the Pietro that has been anchoring every bit of this, what we are doing, especially at the various tedious time, more especially distribution of materials that has generated a lot of problems or controversies. I think he was able to weld the problems that arose. On this, I thank everybody and wish all of us, remember, safety is most crucial thing in election monitoring. So be safe. My father will always tell me then, hear more, see more, talk less. That is the civil service rule. So, and as observers, hear more, see more, talk less, but put down what you have seen and report immediately. Thank you very much for this opportunity to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, my district peace chair. While you were at that, district governor got in and he came back online. My DG, sir, sorry for keeping you waiting earlier.
Sorry, sir.
Kindly talk to us.
Sorry, sir.
Did you got it, sir? You're muted.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, my DG, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
Hello.
My DG,
Hello,
we
you
can
are
hear
loud
you.
and clear.
Hello, my DG, we can hear you.
Louder.
All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, I had to veer off a little bit. I had quite a bit of challenge this morning. I lost a cousin who works in my former office. So I've been off and on the phone discussing with so many people about taking her body and getting the certificates and getting things done and communicating with the brothers abroad. So that has kept me a little busy. I really apologize, but I was in on time. I was on by 7 o'clock and I watched a little bit before I had to go to sort a few things out. I did watch the presentation by Pietro, and I've heard what most of you have spoken about, and I think I like the definitions of monitoring and observation, which are two different things, as has been outlined for all of us. And what I will say particularly is about the safety of every Rotarian. I will please crave your kind indulgence. Do not endanger your life. If there is any situation that calls for you to leave the scene at any particular time, please do that. Man or woman, do not try to be man or try to show that you are powerful or because you are a Rotarian, therefore you must do certain things. I crave your kind indulgence, so please, as much as possible, play safe and be safe. Because it's only when you've gone and gotten the experience and come back alive that we can now benefit from your experiences. And then we can share it, and then going forward, Rotary will benefit from what you are doing for the first time. I'm so pleased that all of you are going out there to represent us. You're going to wear the banner of Rotary, and that's the banner that will, all of us will showcase across Nigeria. Everybody is preaching peace, and we pray that God will grant us peace, that we'll have a very peaceful election, and at the end of the day, we'll have a leader that God will have chosen for all of us. Let me say thank you, all of you, for participating in this meeting, and I pray that God will be with all of us and be with our nation, Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless all of us.
Thank you, my DG. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate your submissions, sir. Okay, at this juncture, most importantly, would like to call on the ICT lead team, Rotarian Israel Attah, to swiftly run us through the electronic form. Like I mentioned earlier, the back end of the form is directly linked to the Peace Committee, and nothing goes out of that place till the district governor sees it. Okay, so Rotarian Israel, please, you have the floor. You can share your screen if necessary, or I can share it here. The form is open on my screen, so you can direct us accordingly, please.
Okay. Good evening, my DJ. Good evening, my DJs, and my chair, Rotary Pietro. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So can you please assist me by give me permission to share the screen? Hello, Rotary Pietro.
Yes, you are now co-host. You can share your screen, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Yes,
so now, okay, we'll just go straight to the point. We have two forms here on our platforms. We have the first one. I had to try to differentiate the two. How to differentiate the two is as simple. We have one which is green, and then the other one will be blue. That's how you get to know which of the screens, which of the forms to fill. Okay. Good. So this is the first form. Now on the first form, it shows opening of the polling. They arrive at the polling station, which is PS, at least 30 minutes before voting. Now, why all these things? I get Rotary and Pietro will explain most of this part, but ideally we're supposed to be at the polling unit 30 minutes before time. Now on our forms, once you click on the form, once you click on the app, on the link, it takes you to this page. Now, there are parts of the form that are mandatory. Once you see a part of the form that is mandatory, which is red, is marked red, it means you have to fill in that compulsory. So first, I'll use mine as an example. You can see Israel. Attah, we'll just take it sharply. Some of the part of the forms I will skip, for us to keep to time. The dates of the program of the event, which is tomorrow, 25th. You can just click on 25th and automatically it will come up and give you that. It's mandatory. It also have to be on red. On the states part of it, you just click on you type on the states you're supervising, which is Plateau State for me. Gives you that. And the next is the local government you'll be supervising. I'm supervising Jos South local government, so I'm going to use Jos South local government. Now, every polling unit has a name. So I'm going to just randomly pick one of the polling units in Jos. I'll just call it Bauda and then see how we can go with it. And also the polling unit also has a polling unit code. Every polling unit has a polling unit code. Usually it's on the it's always on display in every polling unit. So we'll randomly just give it a number. Let me just give it a number 235 or something, 234, just for example. But remember that every polling unit has it. If you notice they're all on red, that means they are key. They are as important for us to fill them. And if you don't fill them, you can't move to the next page. It will even allow you to submit and all that. Now, what time did INEC officials arrive the polling unit? These are things you just do quietly on your own with your mobile phone, and you can just check the time. What is the time that they came in? Okay, let's just say 9 a.m. If it's 9 o'clock, you just click on 09. It gives you that a.m. Let's say 9:10. It gives you 10 minutes past 9. It means that is the time they are there. If they came by 9 p.m., you choose the 9 p.m. But I believe we will not have that kind of situation, hopefully. Now, was priority given to persons with disability? Remember during our training, they talked about persons with disabilities. You're going to notice that, and the people with disabilities, if you go through our manuals, you see that they're all there. The elderly, the pregnant women, and so on. And you have to go through that. If you notice that if the priority is given to them, you also click on yes. And if no, you give reason why. So if it's, let's say no, if it's no, you leave it on no. If it's yes, you just give it. These are just yes and no close-ended questions. Were ramps provided? If ramps are provided there, you click yes. If not, you click on no also. We have Braille ballot guides deployed and used at the polling units. So we are abbreviating the PU so that I get to understand that they are polling units. It's also on red. If it's yes or no, you click on red. So for this section, we'll just be clicking on yes for us to move forward. Now, we have posters, which is the EC30 PWD, which is written instructions cited at the polling units. If yes or no, you click on it also. You go down. Other questions I saw here, we are magnifying and so on. These questions, you just follow them. Those are close-ended questions. You can either click and If probably you clicked on yes, and then you feel it's no, you can still go back to no, or and so on and so forth. Now, please remember not to miss any of the questions, any of the questions, because if you do, it's not going to give us a complete record of what we're looking for, especially in data collection. So now there are questions that require you to just write. What was the number of voters on the main voters register slash roll slash list? You can choose a number. So let's choose a number, for instance, 900, for instance. We're just giving an instance on this. And if you notice, this is star. That means it's compulsory. You have to give us, because these are the key data we're looking at. Your security present at the polling units, yes or no. You also notify that. If no, if yes, how many do we have? Then you probably just say 2, for instance. Now, remember, as you're doing this at the end of it, if you don't complete your form, you won't be able to submit, as I also have said. We are a dear party agent there. You notice that it's also part of the training we went to check if there are party agents there. Was the BVAS used to accredit voters, yes or no? You also tick on that. Now here, if yes, how effective was it? That means your duty is just to notice and observe. So you have to rate from 0 to 1 to 5. If you say if it's very poor, you click on 1. If it's normal, it's left for you to rate it based on what you're seeing. So for in this case, I would pick 4 just to give it that. And then if no, how many accredited done? Okay. If it wasn't used, how many how was accreditation done? You explain that in details. That means you have to type and explain. That's why we have this long space for you to type here. Now, did the presiding officer, which is the presiding officer, show the empty ballot boxes to agents before voting started? Yes or no? You observe that and you also click on it. And did the polling unit show ballot papers to agents before using the voters? I guess this was repeated twice, if I'm not mistaken. We've checked the errors and then we'll correct it, please. Okay, these are 2 different questions, okay? There are 2 different questions. Now, if no, if your answer was no at the previous one, then you have to fill in here to give us the reasons why. What did you do? This, I think this was also discussed during our training in Abuja, where they said you can technically ask the PO, or you can technically just chip in words, not really ask him, but chip in words to him to verify. For instance, I remember the INEC training officer that came to Abuja to said you can technically just say, is it by that? Is it in your rules that this or this should be done like that? I think with that you cannot bring back the person's attention to the guidelines of the electoral process. Now, did the polling unit officer record the total number of ballots issued? These are things you also check. If they did it, yes or no, you notice it, you click on it. Were party agents allowed to record the number, yes or no? You also observe that and then you tick. Now, about how many voters were in queue just before voting started. You notice that, and how many were in queue. So we can just say 200, for instance. I'm just giving instance, and then we can begin. Now,
there are some questions that want to clear.
Yeah, okay. Now, what time did voting commence? You have to put the time it commenced. Let's say 12 noon. Let's use example 12 noon. Okay, so we'll go with that for now. Was the polling PU set up in a way to enable the voter cast a secret ballot? Yes or no? You notice, observe that, and then you fill. If no, you give reasons why. Also, was the polling unit set up such that agents and observer could clearly see the voting process? You will notice, observe all those, or whatever you need to observe there, and then you click yes or no. Okay, did voters have to show their PVC before voting? You notice that, you tick as much as you can tick. Now continue to tick. You follow the questions one by one, and then you tick. And if you remember, if you click on yes, if yes, what explanation was given? You put your answers there. Okay. Here now, okay. This also put yes, and just continue. I just want us to get to the end of the form so that we'll get to understand. But this night we can use our time to go through the form. If there are any corrections, please we'll correct on the platform. We just tell us what you note, observe, and then we can update that from the back end. Okay, so all these are noticed. So permit me to skip some of the questions just to make sure we're able to to meet up with time. Okay. With this, we go with this. We try to, let me tick all the key ones that require us to tick. But remember, please, if there are incidents, you don't skip any of these questions. You have to answer them properly. Remember, we are Rotarians and we have to abide by the 4-week test.
There's a repetition here. There's a repetition here. You can take pictures of it.
You said what?
Where you are now. Yes, there's a repetition. What kind of ballot box was used?
Okay,
The
which one is this one?
twice. Yes.
Okay, no problem. I'll notice. I've noticed that I'll work on it. It's going to be updated in the next few minutes. Immediately after this training, we'll update that. Thank you for that observation.
Yeah, I think you remove the first one, so it's easier. The first one that say yes or no. The second one is better, which is transparent or something.
No, there are
the first one is
two different questions that need to be
There are
answered.
two different
So
questions that need
just
to be
needs
answered.
edited.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think the first one is asking if the ballot box is provided. That's what the first question
was used for the election.
This one is
What kind of ballot box was used for the election? What kind of ballot box? Okay, it's a repetition. We'll work on it and then we'll update you on it. Just give us at the end of the this section, we're going to update that. All corrections are going to be noted. Thank you very much for your correction. Okay, we're just going to go down. Permit for us to go down so that we can skip this part. I just want us to understand where we're going to. Now here, domestic or international observers. So here we're going to tick, was there international or if there are two observers there, if there are other observers there, domestic or international observers, you also tick. So let's assume we have other observers there too. You can just tick the two. If there are international observers, if they are just domestic observers, you only tick on the domestic observers. But if we have domestic and international observers, you're allowed to tick the two. Here, you also have to check the ratio. That means you really need to be observant. If not, you won't be able to get some of the ratios or women participation in voting and all that. So let's just give it 60 to ratio 40, just for the purpose of this section. Okay, also with youths, I will also just pick a random number here. Let us use the same 60 to 40 for the youths. Now, at the end, at what time did you leave the polling unit? You have to also fill the form and tell us, okay, check the time of that you left the polling unit. So let's say, for instance, you left the polling unit by 4 a.m. So it's going to be 16 p.m. So 16:00. That means that is the time you left the polling unit. Now, once you're done, you just click on submit. Automatically, once you click on submit, it takes you directly to this page telling you that your response has been recorded. Now, at the back end, we're going to see every registration, every form that was filled. At the back end, they're going to see it. We're going to see your name, your polling units, all the details that you uploaded. We're going to see it correctly. So if you give us a wrong details, that's what we're going to use the analyzing. Now, that is what we have for the first form. Now, for the second form, for the second form, if you notice, it's different. It has blue. The first one has green. The second form has blue. Now, for this second form, this is one of the forms that we really need to be careful when filling, because just as Rich and Pietro say, we're going to use it as to analyze, and this is the first one we're running, so we have to be very careful. And well, I would like to say that Rotary International is counting on us on this data so picking. Now, for the second form, the first thing you see is this page. Once you click next, now this for the election checklist. Okay. When you click next, it brings you to this place. Here you also have to put your name. If you notice, I just filled this part so that we can just keep it going. So I will just put Israel. We'll just keep this part going. I just place FCT just to, or let me take it back to Plateau or anyone, since I'm here in Plateau, so that I will not go and choose one local government that, or one area council that I don't know in Abuja. Okay, so this is just not the polling unit. I just picked a name just to keep it going. The number, can just pick any number. Arrival time, I just said time of arrival at polling unit. Please, this is just an example so that you just get to know what you're feeling. You have to input your time. Also, we are late voters allowed to vote after stipulated voting time of 2 p.m. You check if yes or no, you tick. Okay, here you explain reason why, you just give reasons why, and you can explain. If the form is still long for you to explain, because you can give a long detailed explanation on this parts. Please try to give in your best input so that we can have the real record of what exactly transpired at the polling units as for a record. Okay, so the next page takes you to this other side.
Arrival time for the POs or for the observer, please.
Okay, the arrival time, let me take you back.
For the observer. For the
observer, okay, for the observers. Okay. Now the first one was for the INEC. If you notice, the first question on the other side was talking about the INEC officials who are there. Now here, what was the total number of voters registered? You have to keep record, and then you just have to write the record of the number of people that were registered. Here we are the ballots counted at the polling units. You have to notice that, observe, and fill each part accordingly. Permit me to just leave all these drops I drop here just because of, but you need to understand that if no, we are they counted, you have to explain and all that, either yes or no. Then how were they conveyed there? You have to write the reason why, how they were conveyed and all that. The questions, we are the voters counted openly in presence of the party agents or observers, yes or no, you also have to tick. If yes, who helped? And remember, we're not supposed to participate by saying, let's help you to count and all that. Ours is just to observe, please. If no, was the counting done accurately? If yes or no, if no, you explain, give reasons why. And if yes, how many? You put the number. Then what explanation was given? You just put that. You have to put all that too. Was each rejected ballot shown to the agents and the reason for the rejection given? You know that, you note it either yes or no, you note, and if no, describe what happened. When they say describe, it means you have to give us the full details of everything. No, there's no stone that you don't have to turn. Everything has to be open, clear for us to see, so that it will help us in our recording and correlation. Now, if yes, you have to give how many, like there now, was there disagreement over any rejected ballots? If yes or no, you give reasons why they're there, why such things happened. Okay, so permit me to go to the next page so that we'll see. Okay, now the next page is actually a total number of voters or valid votes, either yes or no. You have to answer that. Okay, we are the following items openly recorded. If you notice here, the total number of valid voters, how many? You notice that. Total number of used ballots, was it made open? Yes or no? You click on it, and if and how many? You also have to give the figure here. Total number of unused ballots, you have to tell us a figure. If it's 400, you put 400 and so on, or the number you check. And how many, you also have to check. Total numbers of invalid votes. Yeah, was it made open, yes or no? If others, you explain why. Here, you give us the explanation why. Then we have how many also. You also give your answers. Then total number of spoiled ballots, you give us the answer. If it's 100, if it's 10, you just give us a figure. And then please give us a real figure, please. It's a real figure we need. All these things need to be answered. Accordingly, you follow the questions bit by bit, and you answer. All these questions are compulsory for you to answer. You give us your answers, and then at the end of it, at what time did you leave the polling unit? At what time did you leave the polling unit? You tell us the time you left the polling unit. Okay, I left the polling unit by 5 p.m., which is 17. 5 p.m. And then once you're done, you get to the last page. The last part, we tell you thank you for completing this part of the observation forms. Please remember to record the time you left the votes count polling station. Once you're done, you just click on submit. Once you click on submit, it takes you to this page, and then it tells you that your response has been recorded. Automatically, as you're sending it, we're seeing it immediately at the back end. And I guess that's what you need to do throughout the observation period. Another thing again is that because some polling units are kind of hostile, it's good that you study these forms this night so that you can even take a paper or something and just take your time and just be picking the key points, how number of votes and all that. That will also help you. Probably when you get back or you get to a safe place, you can use your phone. Those who do field work in NGOs will understand that it's not everywhere you just open your phone, you want to use as if you want to record it, because you don't know the kind of environment you're going to be monitoring. So you can just take your jotter or something and just write the key points, observation and all that. So when you get to a safe place, you can sit at home or you get to a quiet place and then you can upload your data. If you cannot submit them immediately while the action is going on, it's good that you can just take notes of all those things. Get a jotter, just write them. Once you're done, thank God our jackets already have pockets that you can drop your books and all that. My district governor and EC governors and my chair, Richard Pietro, I think that's all for the submission of forms and the filling of forms. There are questions, please. The floor is open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very, very elaborate presentation, my ICT chair. Please, you can stop sharing your screen now. Thanks a lot. There's been lots of pushing on the platform, but I want to say that while that was going on, I had to quickly invite one of our senior Rotarians, the Assistant District Treasurer of District 9125, who is also an INEC officer, because I saw some questions that I think only people from that office could actually answer at this time. So she's with us. But before I yield the floor to her, I want to acknowledge the presence of DG Mighty Man. Please, can we mute our mic? Rotarian Israel, you can stop sharing your screen so we can have our full screen back. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lots of hands out, but before we can start attending to those hands, DG Mighty Man, sir, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, just watching.
My DG, you are muted.
I said, thank you very much, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much, my DG. You were supposed to charge us and give us a remark. We had DG Godinadi earlier, DG Grace. We also have a message from DG Lawson. So beyond thanking us.
Let me be around for a while so I can do that later.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. At this juncture, I would like to go over the questions. Rotary Lovina Okontui, are you online? Rotary Lovina, are you still here? If you're talking, please, you're muted, because I want to take the questions at this point.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Thank you, my ADT. Okay, there are a couple of questions, some of which DG Mighty Man volunteered some response to. So I want to quickly scan through the chat. Okay, someone is talking about using GPS for camera and pictures. I think our ICT chair, that's for you. Please note it down. It's saying, my leader, you may wish to suggest observers install GPS cameras on phones to help our picture verification for ease of review and security consciousness. Picture shows live location and time. You can advise us. I don't think that might be necessary, but you can advise us in that regard. Okay, Lukman already asked these questions verbally. Someone is asking, which form are we to fill as observers at the polling unit? Are we to follow the polling unit team to collation center as well? ADT Lovina, please note this down. Are we to follow the polling unit team to collation center as well? Okay. Okay. Someone is asking, are we to sign the observers register, make observations of whatever transpires in the place covered? We should cover as many as we can. Please, it's not as many as you can. It's advised that first you cover your primary location. That's where you'll be casting your vote. That's the polling unit that is closest to you. That is closest to you. If there's another polling unit close within that vicinity, you may visit them, but we don't expect any Rotarian to go around, please, for safety and security. And we have our name to protect. So please limit your movement. Your primary location, which is your polling unit, which is not expected to be far of where you reside. Okay. Then are we allowed to observe more than one polling unit? I think we just answered that. If yes, if no, how do we select the exact polling unit to observe? Talking about your... Sorry about that. The Rotarian has been muted. How do we select the exact polling unit? Please, your polling unit where you'll be casting your votes, that is where you are expected to start your observation from. First thing in the morning, you cast your votes, then you commence your observation from your polling unit. We don't expect to have you visiting more than 3 polling units, please. 1 or 2, you know, worst case scenario 3, but 1 or 2, please. Okay, my DG is saying, I hope observers are entitled to cast their votes. From inquiries we've made, yes, my DG, observers are advised to cast their votes. They actually have a leverage or privilege, as we may regard it, to be able to cast their votes first before other electorates start participating in the process. Okay. Happy to be part of updating and refresh gathering. Okay. Can observers vote? Yes. Are we expected to complete the 2 forms each polling unit? Yes, you are. There's an opening form. That was what the chairman was trying to say. So the first form is the one you fill when you arrive. And then the second form is the one you fill when the voting has ended. For collation exercises and all that, but ADT Lovina will shed more light on that. Returning Dongesit is asking, is it more than 1 polling unit? This question is occasioned by specific questions on this form. Okay, my DG answered, you are not allowed to do more than 1 polling unit as you indicated in your application. My DG, what they indicated in their application is their local government. So of course we have scenarios where there are hundreds or more than a couple polling units in the local government. but we're saying that they can do their immediate polling units and anyone closest to them. But because they indicated local government does not mean they should start touring the local government for security reasons. Yes, sir. Okay. Lots of applause for Rotary and Israel. My DG is asking, okay, please, Rotarians are non-monitors. You are to simply observe a polling unit. Do not move around. Be safe. This is an emphatic advice from DG Mighty Man. Please, we should note that. Okay, someone is saying my polling unit is different from my assigned local government. Please, Rotarian Lovina, this question we need to address it. Yeah, someone is asking my polling unit is different from my assigned local government. What should I do in this situation? Please note it down, ma. I'm almost done scanning through. Okay, thanks so much for the explanation on polling unit to cover to do a good job. I suppose 1 or 2 because the essence of, okay. Thank you very much. My ICT chair, please, your response to the GPS location on pictures so that Rotary Lovina could take it up from there.
Yes, can I just do mine and go off?
Okay,
I have a lot of
please.
issues at my center to attend. I'm in a Sabah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Please, you have the floor so you can leave us. Thanks for sparing time.
Thank you very much. Good evening, my DGs and sorry, fellow Rotarians. The first question here is, hello.
Yes, we have with you. Sorry for that interference.
The first question here on my list that I noted down is the one for filling of attendance register at the polling units. On arrival at the polling units, so the observer is expected to approach the polling team led by the presiding officer, and then he will be appropriately, asked to identify him or herself, showing her ID card or his ID card, and then he will be given the attendance sheet in the polling unit booklet to sign. Hope that is clear.
Hope we followed that. Please, can you emphasize that again, my ADT?
Yes. There is a polling unit booklet in every PU. So an observer, whether local or international, on arrival, will approach the polling team, which is led by the presiding officer. He or she will introduce herself or himself, showing his or her ID card as an accredited INEC observer. So he'll be handed a page will be open to him or her in the booklet where he or she will sign, write his name and sign.
Okay, well taken.
Question number 2. Whether they are to follow the polling unit, INEC would not provide the vehicle anyway. If any observer wants to proceed with the polling team to the collation center, it's not a problem. They can proceed to the collation center. But I don't know how your postings are done. People allowed in the collation center are by posting. If you worked at the polling unit, you cannot go to the RA collation center. Only the observers for the RA collation center that will be allowed. You can only observe results at your polling units. I don't know if you have your observers at the RA level, because from the polling units, results are entered into the EC8A, distributed and moved to the RA collation center. If you have observers at the RA collation center, they are the only people that will be allowed. 1 per organization. I don't know if I've answered that or whether it's clear enough.
Yes, you have. Can you break it down when you say RA center? The acronym.
Polling units are subsets of registration areas. For those of you in the FCT, we call them wards. Registration areas and wards. In FCT, they are called wards. In other states, they are registration centers. from the polling unit. Each RA has 10 or minimum 10 polling units. From what I heard when I joined, I discovered that your team is posted to polling unit. They are all posted to polling units, which are the subsets of RAs. So after the election, sorting and counting at the polling units, their job ends there. They will only pick their own information and proceed probably to meet the next person at the next level, which is the RA registration area or ward collation center, where the results from the polling unit will be submitted by the presiding officer. If you have somebody there, they would only feed the person with the information. They cannot enter the collation center because they are not posted to the RA registration area.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, I'm trying to open a copy of our ID card.
We have a list of people that are allowed into collation centers according to the levels of collation. Yes.
Okay.
Even party agents, if you are posted to a polling unit, after sorting and counting at the polling unit and declaration of scores, sorry, announcement of scores, their job ends there. They can only pick their copy of EC8A, the pink copy duplicate, proceeds to the RA, which is the registration area or the ward, and hand over to the next person at the center. They will stay outside.
Okay.
Then
okay. Can I say something, Macleo? This is Rotary, I'm not being Macleo.
Yes.
ADS, please, do we have provision for this? Because I'm just hearing it for the first time now. Thank you.
Provision for what?
For proceeding to where they do collection, like Madam is saying now. Do we have an observer for that?
It's not, we don't advise accompanying the materials to the collation center.
Entry into the collation center is highly restricted.
Yes, as DG Mighty Man advised, let's man our polling units. Be that as it may, in every state we have contact officers, and I was displaying their ID card earlier, and we are made to understand, my ADT, we are made to understand that contact officers have access to every levels of the collation centers, as the case may be. So I wanted you to see the
what
tags.
Are your, may I understand your contact person? Your contact persons, are they the ones in charge of a state?
Yes, they are the ones in charge of a state, please.
So you have one contact person per state.
Per state, exactly. And
okay.
This is
if you have one contact person,
this is what the ID
state,
card looks like. Can you see my screen?
Okay, let me look at it.
Yes,
let me
please.
look
So
at it now.
You have this, and the state is Osun State, and that's DGN. So
okay, yes. The
I
contact person
that
for your state, that's represent your lead observer for the state.
Exactly.
On arrival, yes, your lead observer for the state on arrival can simply introduce his or herself. Good evening, sir. And they will present the ID card.
Okay, so this
and the person at the collation center.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So these individuals have access to every level of collation.
Because they are state representatives.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay,
Then
I think
this question that says, okay, questions of them asking of their voting polling units, where they are posted. I heard it saying that they can vote at their polling unit. They are posted to their primary polling unit where they are registered to vote.
No, our observers are actually posted to local governments, not polling units. So they can visit.
I had polling unit because some want to vote.
Yes, someone was asking how many polling units we could cover considering our cautiousness, and someone was concerned about accessibility, that his polling unit is not in the local government of interest. So how would he get to his polling unit? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think in that case, I don't know what you would do for that person. If the person's polling unit is not in his or her local government, then it's within your team now to handle that. But it is advisable that they don't go with their observer's kit to polling units that they're going to do.
Come again.
They shouldn't go with their observers kit.
Okay.
Kitted. They shouldn't go kitted. So the polling unit they're supposed to go.
Okay, they shouldn't go dressed first as observers
Yes, they
till
shouldn't
after
go
they vote.
dressed. Yes. Yes.
Please, we need to note this. We need to note this very
Go
seriously.
there as every ordinary Nigerian votes and then proceed to your house or in your car, then pick up yourself and put your area of posting.
Okay, I would also announce this at the end of this meeting. Okay. But are they allowed? Are they allowed to? Are they allowed to introduce themselves to the INEC officers as observers, even though they are dressed in mufti, to expedite their?
No, they are there like every Nigerian to vote. They are there like voters, not as observers. So they can introduce themselves.
Okay, so please, it's advisable you go to your polling unit as early as possible, so you will be forced to be attended to, so you have enough time to attend to that.
Few minutes to 8. Voting commences at 8:30.
Okay.
So that they can vote and then go to their polling units of them posting for their assignment.
Okay, my ADT. There's another question from Synergy President Peter. He's asking, is the State Collation Center always at the INEC State Office or a different location?
Oh, I think the majority of our collation centers are where they are not located within the INEC State Office.
Sorry, we lost you a bit there. We didn't get your feedback.
Okay, I said most of our collation centers are within our state offices.
Okay.
But where they are not within the state offices, the collation centers lists are always made available on inquiry or request.
Okay. Okay. Rotary and Peter, I hope you got that. Thank you very much. Okay, my ADT, any other answers to any questions that come to mind?
I think I've dealt with all. The only thing I wanted to add, I heard us talking about voting ending at 2:30.
Okay.
It's not voting that ends at 2:30. Accreditation and voting starts at 8:30 a.m. and stops at 2:30 p.m. But everybody that was on the line before 2:30 p.m. will be allowed to be accredited and the person will vote. The only thing the polling team will do, they will ask the security personnel to stand at the back of the last person on the queue. So a new person does not join that queue after 2:30.
Okay.
A new voter, let me use that word.
Yes, a new voter. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, before we let you go, there's a question, hand is up from Rotary and Domingo, but I wanted to also hint us about security arrangements by INEC and how it relates to the safety of observers as well.
Well, INEC is only in charge of security for its polling team. Every polling unit is provided with security. You have police, you have civil defense, depending on the availability. They are posted available. But you must have police, civil defense at every polling unit. At every collation center, you have police.
Okay.
At the rack centers, you have police. Rack centers, that's station area centers, are eves of election like today. Today we are camping men and material at the racks for ease of deployment, continuity and so for all these levels, we have different number of observers. But if they are within that city, why not? By law, it is provided other. For our basic concern, the pool official, our pooling materials, that's all.
Okay. Thank you very much. At this point, Rotarian Domingo, you have the floor. After you ask your questions, Rotarian Emeka would ask his.
Thank you so very much indeed, Madam, and thank you, our chair. Please, my question is in respect of the car. How, as a state representative, how would I be able to move around in the areas I'm covering without a car sticker, because we don't have car stickers? Would the ID card suffice? Yes, your ID card will suffice, and your kids. We don't have kids in Akwa Ibom State. Our election, huh? Please, we don't have kids in Akwa Ibom State. We have just the ID. Your team to provide now. Is so you use your ID card. Yeah. Your tax. Okay. Your tax. Okay. Ordinarily, the team is supposed to organize that, because for every state, the provisions made. I know your chair is there now. Charge. There were kids given to him probably down, and it provides for all observers. So,
my ADT, INEC did not provide kit this year. They said that you people have the INEC chairman said you people are on a tight budget, so there was no kit, no cap, no jotter.
So okay, that was why you had to produce this one.
Yes.
And then the tag.
Yes.
Well, their tag suffice. Just
Okay.
present your tag. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Rotary and Emeka, you have the floor, please.
Okay, thank you so much, my chair and my ADT. So I think I got this, but I just want to be triple sure that I understand this very clearly. So accreditation happens and voting happens immediately, right? It's not that they're going to finish accreditation before voting will start, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. I just want to
it's simultaneous accreditation and voting.
Okay,
as the voter arrives to polling units,
the
voter goes straight to APO 3. They confirm his or her PIPs that he or she belongs there.
Okay.
Confirm. If it's confirmed, the person proceeds to APO 1, to the Beavers verification and authentication. If that is passed, you follow straight to the APO 2, to the register ticking. And then you proceed to the PO who issues you the ballots.
Yeah.
You go straight to the voting room, you vote, and you thumbprint, drop your ballot, and exit the polling booth. So it's simultaneous.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So my chair, the other question I was going to raise, well, the other thought I was going to raise is on the forms. The very first one, the green form. You know, there were some questions there that, for instance, was priority given to PWDs? And the answer is yes or no. I'm just thinking in a polling unit that is not that big and there are no PWDs, you know, how do we qualify that answer? Should it be yes or no? Because it's a close question and answer that was given there. I'm just thinking about it. And then pregnant women, for instance, were they given a priority? What if there are no pregnant women? Should it be yes or no? I'm just thinking, how do we tackle things like that? So that's all from me. Thank you.
Is it for me to answer or for you to answer?
Okay, I think that's a recommendation. Our ICT chair, please, there needs to be another included question that has to do with gender or the disadvantage. Elderly and pregnant people should be accommodated as well. I think that's what Mr. Emeka is trying to point out.
Okay,
noted.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
For our PW, our procedure says they are given what? Priority and arrival. Pregnant women, agent. You don't keep them standing on the queue. You attend them at the queue. And in polling units where you have PWDs, their voting materials are made available to them to vote on arrival, and their posting is there. Their poster, sorry, PWD poster is of reading and understanding of
my ADT, please adjust a little. There's so much interference on your ends, please. We know you're on duty. Sorry for the inconvenience, please, but we need these valuable insights.
Hello. Can you
Yes,
hear
you
me?
can. Yes, better now. Thank you.
Okay. As a PWDs at the pooling units are given priority. Pregnant women, nursing mothers also, and the agents. And then for pooling units where we have PWDs, usually impaired, appraisal, and all of that, they are provided their materials, to vote on arrival and the exit. They also have their poster there, so that it will be easy for them to read and understand the voting procedure on their own. We have the magnifying glasses and the real ballot guides for them, depending on the type of impairment or disability.
Okay, thank you very much. More hands are going up by the day. Okay.
I want to just go to the enlightenment and
please,
I
sorry.
want to go to my situation room. I'm managing the situation room in Attah.
Please, just give us 2 minutes.
Madam, please give us a little time, please, ma.
Rotary Ayo, you have the floor. Rotary and Dada Ayo, please talk to us.
Thank you very much, sir. The other question I want to ask, just to be double sure, the first form that we are to sign, will that form be with the presiding officer or what, sir? That's the question I want to ask, sir.
Okay, sorry. Is it the form? Is it the electronic form or the form you are coming to meet at the polling unit?
The observer from the form that we are to meet at the polling unit.
Okay, my ADT, please, your feedback now.
You're not meeting any form at the polling unit. The only form you're meeting at the polling unit is the attendance register.
Exactly. And
They're not expected to even talk to you, and you're not expected to ask them questions on the procedure. All you do on arrival is just introduce yourself. And then after that, they will document you.
Okay.
In the polling unit book, they'll open the page and sign. So you just stand and observe the process. And then you take your notes.
All right, ma. Thank you, ma.
Okay, sorry, ma. Can I chip in little question regards to this, ma? This Rotary and Obina, please. Before we sign the form, are we also made available to look at the BV the machine, BVAS machine, before we sign the form?
No, you are not to ask them any question. If you get there when they are doing their pep talk, PU awareness, fine. You will listen to the awareness they're making at the polling units. But you can't get there when the process has commenced and you try to interfere and to ask them questions to explain things to you. It's not allowed. Observers on arrival at polling units or any voting location or electoral process, recognition, all observers do is to watch and take notes. Just go around, do your observations, and then you note it down.
Thank you very much for that submission, my ADT. Last question from the Peace Chair of Plateau State, Rotary Wole. Please ask your question, sir.
Okay, good evening, my chair. Please, I just want to confirm, as a state contact, am I to go to the polling booth in the morning there, or when am I to go and introduce myself at the state headquarters so that I can follow everything to the latter conclusion?
Well,
okay, my ADT, please, before you answer that, there's another hand up. Please, if you have any question, you can ask now, not a situation where more question leads to more question, please. Rotarian Obareki, ask your question so she can take it together. She has to return to duty.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So my question is not to her, it's concerning the form. I have not seen anywhere that we can upload pictures or videos. Is it possible to enable such things so that at least you have a background of what is going on too as part of supporting our report? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The ICT chair will note that question for his feedback. Rotarian Anene, please ask your question. Rotarian Anene, you are muted in case you're talking.
Yeah, thank you. I want to be double sure, more clarification. When we are posted to local governments, our local government. And equally, we have our own, like me, in that local government, I have my polling unit where I will vote. The question is, from the discussion, we are told that we are only restricted to polling units within our environment. We are not supposed to go up to the local government where they are doing collation or submission of anything. I want to be double sure. If we can attend to 1 or 2 polling booths within our location, we just give that report without going to the local government. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll allow DG Mighty Man to answer this when he's volunteering his intervention, please. My peace chair of Lagos State, you have the floor now.
Well, good evening, everyone. My question is actually on the form. If we're just observing, there are some figures that we can't get without talking to the presiding officer. Like how many people were accredited. There's no way we'll know that without talking to them. What do we do in that situation?
Okay, well noted. Rotarian Ife, please ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, all. Please, my question is about the beavers. She said something about the beavers. What happens if at the beginning of the poll, the INEC officials do not show the beavers to be at 00? Please.
Wonderful question.
Okay, I think the briefing we got, if we are there at the beginning, they as part of protocol or procedure, they will show it as 00. So it's all a matter of when we got there. That's why you notice that there are lots of questions about timing.
No, I am asking.
Yes, she will still chip in, but I'm just emphasizing. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Then secondly.
Okay.
Maybe I missed out on it, but I've been running through my mind if there's any question relating to that in our checklist. I don't know, maybe it's an omission or something, or I missed it.
What question is that?
As in, if our checklist captured ascertaining that the beavers were at 000.
Yes, it captured it.
It captured it. Okay.
Yes.
So it was my bad. Thank you.
No,
please.
it's okay. You're welcome. My Anambra State Peace Coordinator, Rotarian V. Nwankwo, you have the floor.
How many more questions are left?
Just one. This is the last person. Rotarian Vane, please. You are muted if you are talking, please. Rotarian Vane, you are muted. Your hands is up. Do you have a question for us, ma'am? Okay, my ADT, please, you can do justice to those questions already raised.
I'm talking, please. I don't know if you're hearing me.
Okay, you were muted earlier. Sorry, my chair.
Okay.
Okay.
So good evening, everybody. My own just a clarification. That's if you're posted, like you're posted in a local government, different from where you're supposed to observe. What do you do in that stance?
Okay.
I just need to be clarified. For instance, somebody is posted to Onitsha, for instance, and he resides at Oka, where she will vote. Will she not vote to go for the observation, or will she stay back at Oka to do her voting before proceeding to Onitsha? What do you do in that stance?
My ADT, I know you got the question.
Yes, for those that reside in local government, for those that are posted outside their local governments of origin.
Assignments, yes.
Yes. Okay, let me start with that one. Okay. If you are posted in a local government where you are registered to vote, all you need to do is get there early. Get there very early. Polls commence at 8:30. So if you're there 30 minutes to time, you're able to vote on time. And then you proceed to your local government of posting. Except they can swap you within your team, that's fine. If they can't swap you, that's the only option for you. Then the second question asked by Wole says, as a state representative. So started to say that, so before going to comment observation.
My ADT, please adjust a little. We are struggling to hear you, please.
I like the office. All you need to do is calling me. All you need to do is sit to the polling units within your local government of the state and start your observation. If you have any reason to go around INEC, it's fine, but the concern is to go around the polling units and the government. Madam. And then the other question says, yes, the second question says, am I expected to visit all polling units in my local government of posting or select a few? Right?
Yes, something like
if
that.
If you are posted in the local government and the local government has 100 polling units, that's your area of assignment. That depends on you. For all the 9 next, you are posted to this state. Your responsibility is to supervise all areas, RAs, local government, that state. How you want to walk around it, it's now for you to decide. So I don't know what your team has agreed on, whether you visit 3 or you have to cover the entire government. So if you have to cover the entire LGA, then you have to visit majority of the polling units in the local government. I never not restrict. Don't do it in the limits and the boundaries of their job specification as an observer. That's all.
Okay, thank you
and then
very much.
The other one says, how do you know the number of accredited voters if you don't speak to the polling team? At the beginning of polls in the polling units, we deploy our polling team from the RAG 1 hour ahead of commencement of poll. Say 7 p.m. They're expected to 7 a.m. Sorry, they're expected to be at their place at 7 a.m. So if you are there at 7 a.m., that 1 hour gap of 7 a.m. to 8:30 or thereabouts, they use that window to do pep education and awareness talk. That's when they will open the ballot box, show the beavers, display the materials to show that they are all blank and they're empty. So if you're not there at that time, you cannot interfere because they would have commenced the process. If you interfere, you are disturbing them because we work with timelines. You can ask anybody around me whether we're party agents or when you are done and when they are done and you are still there, you ask them. For accreditation figures, at the beginning of sorting and counting, that's the end of poll, when the last person has voted, they will display and announce the number of accredited voters on the beavers before they commence sorting and counting, and will announce to everybody at the polling unit. So if you are the polling unit at that time, you will take note of the figure without asking anybody.
You see my ear.
Sir, well done, sir. I will have answered all your.
Yes, you have answered them very, very well and outstandingly well. And we appreciate you for your time, Mark. Thank you very, very much. And we'll leave you at this juncture. We wish you a safe process tomorrow. All right, bye. Okay, very distinguished Rotarians. At this juncture, I think the ICT chair had noted some questions on his own department as well. There are suggestions from Rotary and Emeke for disadvantage, talking about the elderly and pregnant women. And someone also, I saw a submission from a Rotarian that said also include NA in those options. That means not available or not applicable. So in scenarios where there are no pregnant women, but I think you can address other concerns. Rotarian Israel, please, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, my chair, thank you. For the pictures, first of all, let me start with the pictures. We'll look into that for us to probably add parts where you can snap pictures and then add, where you can upload the pictures. but we'll give a limit to it, probably 5 pictures or 6, so that we don't overwhelm the cloud drive that we're using. That's 1. 2, for geo coordinates, yes, it's important that we use geo coordinates and all that. But for now, since this is the first time we're doing this, working with geo coordinate means we're going to have a different application at the back end and all that. And for now, for provision for that is not really available now. So permit us for now, we won't be working with the geo coordinates because of the app, because of what we're using, the current interface we're using. It doesn't support geo coordinates. So I think that's just for the other ones. For the other corrections, I've noted them. What was it? Before morning, we should be able to get, before 12 midnight, we should be able to have the update of the corrections by the grace of God. Is there any question I'm missing here again? I think just for the pictures and then the joke on it, those are the major ones I've gotten. Other ones are just the corrections that were stated. We'll look into that, I and the chair, this night, and see how we can update. And then I'll update them appropriately. Please, if there's any question I'm missing, maybe you can throw the question open so that I can respond immediately.
Okay. Thank you very much for that submission, my chair. Rotary Tunde Oleleye, you missed the presentation earlier, and from your question it's obvious you're not following us online either. So please, there's an electronic form that has been developed. It was presented by the ICT chair, and the form is also on the platform. So that is what inputs have been made from the floor for more inclusions and review. Rotarian John, please, you have the floor. Kindly unmute and ask a question.
Okay, good evening, my chair. Good evening, fellow Rotarians. I just want to quickly say this, a suggestion and a question per se. I just patiently went through all the form, the Google form questions to be answered tomorrow, and I haven't listened to the ICT person. I really think that according to DG99, it will be preferably, it will be better for each and every one of us to probably stick to one poly unit, because if we are going to go to a particular poly unit, observe, and then after some time, maybe leave to another poly unit. According to the ICT spokesperson, he said we should be able to give accurate figures and accurate reports on whatever thing we must have covered. And if we are to leave from one poly unit to another, I'm very sure we'll not be able to cover or will not be able to give accurate reports on whatever thing we must have gotten. And secondly, the INEC lady spoke about us as observers not being able to probably cast our votes if we are to be wearing our apparel. So I'm actually thinking maybe go to the polling units with the apparel, not wearing it, cast my votes while I'm observing. And then after casting my votes, maybe later identify with the INEC official as an observer, showing them my ID card, and then probably continue from there. So I wanted her to probably say something about it if it's possible. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I could answer some of those questions. On the last intervention, talking about apparel, she advised, and I think is more of on a discrete basis and ethical basis, that we should, if we must cast our vote, we should cast our votes as an ordinary Nigerian, that's a mufti, not identifying as an observer. So it's advised that we go there early so we could be able to do that process. So after we are done with the process, we can go fetch our clothes, perhaps in the bag where it is or in the vehicle where we left it, and put it on and start our observation mission. But it's important, and that will be emphasized this night, and I think DG Metiman would also emphasize that on this call, that we adhere to this, not vote wearing our observers' kits. It's very important. There's a whole day activity. So if you don't wear your kits, you still have time to observe, And of course, while not wearing your kit and queuing, you are still taking notes, fiddling with your phone, and still participating in the observation process. Okay, as regards to I think the picture is also a concern. Rotarian Israel, I think if we can accommodate 5 pictures like you mentioned, it's fine, but let's be discreet in taking those pictures as well. And then I have a question here, concern on the chat that is asking if we can create state situation rooms on WhatsApp. Now, I think what they are trying to say is they want to be posting real life pictures and information of different states, but they wouldn't want to populate the general platform. Please, we will need our district governor's approval for that. I'm very, very much interested in our district governors being in the know of every step of the way of actions and activities we take. So the DGs are on the call to approve that if we can create external state platforms, like for Anambra State, for Abia State, for Lagos State, for different states that are being observed, where discussions would go on about what is happening in those specific states instead of the general platform. I think those are the concerns. Joanna, I don't know if I was able to answer your questions, please.
No, please, I still please want to probably, yes, you did, sorry, but I just want to know, like I said earlier, is it possible I go to the polling unit where I'm casting my votes with my kit, I keep it in the car, and then after casting my votes, then I come out with my ID card, identify as an observer. That's what I want to really know. Thank
yes,
you.
that's what she advised. That's what she advised.
Okay.
Yes, so far you don't do it in the same vicinity. You don't like cast your vote to the left, go to the right, and go and wear your kits. You know, it's about public opinion, really. You know, and it's about perception. So if you have your car parked somewhere in a distance, or your clothes in your bag in a distance, you could go somewhere and put it on and come back after a couple of minutes and start your activity. But be that as it may, while you're on the queue to cast your votes, you are still filling the form. So really, you didn't really lose anything, as the case may be. Then your first question that has to do with observing one polling unit because you need accuracy in your data. You know, I think that is why we provided for time. Don't forget that we are not the only observers at that polling unit. So wherever you capture and stop, that's why there's a timestamp. What time did you get there? What time are you leaving there? So the realities or the activities that happened as when you were there, things might have changed. As when you were there was no violence. You left and 1 hour later there was violence. Somebody will capture it, you know, specifying that from so time to so time there was disruption. You know, so we can't capture everything. Or if we choose to say in the same polling units, good and fine. But if we want to cover 1 or 2 or 3 polling units, fine. But the timestamp is very key in those instances. Thank you very much. Rotarian Ola Davis, please, you have the floor. And after that, Rotarian Adomagu, you have the floor. After which, yes, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good evening, all. I would like to confirm the issue of IDs for some states. That because let me share my own personal experience. I was with Professor Olanisimi, who is the Ogun State coordinator. We were at the INEC office with the fourth person. I think yesterday we attended the briefing to discover that our names were not, Rotary was not enlisted as part of observers for Ogun State, and very disappointing. All effort to make every necessary correction prove abortive. So what is being done in this regards? Because the man came all the way from Utebor, and I'm sure that this is just service to humanity. So what is being done to actually ensure that things are corrected? So that is just my clarification.
Okay, in that regard, there were lots of discrepancies from INEC. You saw a situation where the whole contact officers nationwide was omitted in the production of the ID card. The concerns you raised was the same issue in Borno State, in Taraba State, in Cross River State, and in River State, I think, and they were well surmounted. So I was a bit frustrated to the fact that you weren't able to resolve the issue in Ogun State because you have all the legitimate tools to demand for the right thing to be done, So I don't really know at this point if it could be rectified because you don't have your ID card or you don't have anything that identifies you as an observer. And in the absence of that, you might not really be able to act in that capacity. Be that as it may, you can visit your polling unit, cast your vote, do your observation unbranded, without identifying with the INEC official. You could do your stuff discreetly, but unfortunately at this time, I don't think you can be identified as an election observer for tomorrow. Sorry about that. Rotarian Adomabu, please, you have the floor, sir. Rotarian Adomabu, if you have
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for your efforts and everything you have done to make this a possibility. You and your team, you have done a wonderful job. I know this question I want to ask has come up a couple of times in the course of this meeting, but because of the conflicting information I've gotten, I want to ask again for clarification. At our state, in Delta State, where we had a meeting with the team at the election at the state office, I asked the question because my ID is buried in another local government, very far from about 3.5 hours or 4 hours drive from where I am. Isoko South as against Oshimiri South, and I asked, can I use this ID and do my work in Oshimiri South? And the state officer answered in the affirmative. But here, with the expert that was called upon to answer some of these questions, the answer she gave was in the negative. So I don't really know what to do. I really want to cast my votes in my local government, which is Oshimiri South. And after casting my vote, there's no way I can travel 4 hours to where I'm posted to go and do election observer work. So I just need to seek this clarification for last time to know what to actually do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Your identification card shows that you have a link or you're identified by INEC. That is for starters. All right, being able to cast your vote is the primary objective and observing your immediate polling unit. Having actualized that, I think you can use your ID card, in a couple of places around that vicinity. Oshimiri, north and south, beyond the name being similar, what matters is that you can be identified to be an INEC observer. So you don't need to travel 3 hours wherever. We don't advise that. This is the first time Rotary is having this outing, so we are particular about safety and also about the conduct of Rotarians. So we don't advise such long journey to perhaps endanger yourself or other uncertainties, but you can visit other polling units around the vicinity. I think your card can accommodate that. Depending on your approach to the security operatives, I think at this time I must emphasize the need for emotional intelligence. As a peace builder, you need to really be emotionally intelligent and understand some unspoken words and understand people's emotions and actions and be able to manage situations, please. So yes, you can. Thank you very much. Rotarian John, any last thoughts? Rotarian John.
Hello, sorry.
Yes.
No, I'm done. Sorry, I didn't know.
Okay,
My hand was
your
still
hand
up.
was still
Sorry.
up, yes. Okay, at this juncture, I want to quickly read the message from DG Lawson because she is in an intervention meeting with Turkey. We all know the sorry situation in Turkey and Syria concerning earthquake, and she's on a Zoom call at this time for a district partnership intervention. So she sends a message to us, and I read, I wish all Rotarians taking part in the election observation a cautious time while charging them to be true Rotarians, worth emulating in character at the different positions where they will work. I wish them all a peaceful participation. District Governor Omotunde Lawson, Rotary International District 9110. Thank you very much. And at this time, I want to yield the floor to District Governor Mighty Man to give us a last word and advise us on security and AOB. I think we have brushed through that. Every other emphasis will be posted on the platform. And then I advise that we go through that. So after the Mighty Man gives us his last charge to energize us, Rotarian Miriam Ahmed will give a vote of thanks so that we can close. DG Mighty Man, sir, please, you have the floor, my DG.
Okay, thank you, Chair Pietro. I thank you and congratulate you for moving you and your team, the Peace Building Committee, to this point. And before I go on further, I would like to admonish us, as I did during the training, Rotarians, and I posted a few of these on the chat. Rotarians are not election monitors. And I asked the question, what do you want to do? You know, in all polling units in a wide local government area. Why do you want to go around the whole local government because you are posted to that local government area? Don't forget, we are here to observe with the peace lens. And as Chair Pietro said, we must be emotionally intelligent. So it's important for us for doing this the first time, we just need to observe, do our job strictly as observers. Our inquisitivity shouldn't go beyond the fact that we are Rotarians, we are not electoral officers. And the issue of this local government being far-flung and all of that came from the time that people are choosing their local government areas. Maybe Rotarians didn't understand that they could just choose the LGA where they are registered to vote. It necessarily didn't mean the local government, your local government of origin. For instance, my local government is Nembe local government, but I'm in Yenagua, where I live and where I register to vote. So the polling unit that I'm going to be doing the observation is Yenagua local government, but that's not where I come from. So that has caused this issue of people being posted to different local government. Of course, those local government are local government that they chose when they were completing the application form to be observers. And when we cleared them, that was there. So I would like to ask and urge us to be very civil and don't be too inquisitive about the political happenings in the field. As a Rotarian, we must wear the garb of Rotarians that have been given a trial observer status. Trial observer status. There are so many organizations, both domestic and international organizations, that have been observing elections from 1999 till date. Rotary has never done that. Now we are given a little window, partnering with other NGOs to come in as Rotarians. Yes, it's possible that some Rotarians in their own vocation and professions have been involved in election monitoring, have been involved as NEC officers, have been involved as returning officers, have been involved as polling officers and so on. But this time, please be guided that if you are a member of a Rotary member in Nigeria and you are chosen among these less than 100 that are going to be doing this, you are not doing it as business as usual. We are doing it as Rotarians who are there to observe with a peace lens. This is an initiative of the Peace Building Committee of the Rotary District in Nigeria. We cannot overemphasize this. We must go there on time for those who talked about beavers not being zeroed or not, if you are there on time, you're going to see the beaver. However, if you are there late, please don't interfere. Stay there and ask questions for those who can help you complete your forms. If you ask me, Chair Pietro and his group, there may not be need for photographs, if you ask me. If I'm observing, I may not want to do photograph because you don't know the rules, the security details might have. If you get to the polling station and the security officials have been briefed that no one should take photograph, I'm sure that the Nigeria that we are, they're not going to recognize your attire if you want to do a photograph. So why do we need the photograph when we have the forms? Complete our forms at the end of it and turn in those forms and leave the polling zone so that we don't have issues about Rotarians who are observers being harassed because they are taking photographs that the people think are not likely. This is Nigeria. We've been around for a while, and we must use that emotional intelligence to secure ourselves. So I urge you to please be Rotarians. And someone asked if you don't have the gear, you know, if you don't have the branded jackets and so on, can you put on your Rotary cap and your Rotary t-shirt? I don't think Pietro answered that question. You might need to address that, particularly for those in Akwa Ibom who didn't get the kits. If you don't have that kit, can you wear the Rotary t-shirt and then the Rotary cap and then put on your ID? That is for us to clarify. But however, I thank the Assistant District Treasurer 9125 and that has brought her vocation, her professional competence to clarify this. That is what we talk about in Rotary. We are tailors, we are cooks, we are ENEC officials, we are Rotarians. So we bring it to Rotary to help the cause of Rotary, to give Rotary validity. For me, this is one avenue for us to expand our reach as Rotarians who are always advocating for peace. So please, let us do it and achieve the peace motive that we are here to do. Thank you so much, Pietro and team. Thank you, my fellow governors, for this initiative that we are here to support to ensure that Rotary's mission statement and mostly Rotary's priority objectives, one of them, expanding our reach and increasing participants' engagement, even in peace building. This is going to bring it to the fore. Thank you so much. And I wish us a very safe and secure and credible process as we go out tomorrow. It's a long job that we have agreed to do. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot for those words of encouragement and those advices. Let me quickly respond to the picture and the kit. For the kit, please don't wear end polio to the polls. You can just use only your ID card. If you notice, one thing we did with the kit was that we were very systematic with the utilization of the rotary wheel, because the rotary wheel is easily identifiable. So we were very systematic with it. We only have it at the breast pocket, and it's something that we were very economical with its display. So if you don't have the kit, just use your normal mufti and have your ID card. Your ID card on your neck is actually what INEC and security officials want to see, not really your kit. Your kit actually sends the message from afar, okay, that is an observer. But when you get closer, what they want to verify is, do you have the ID card? So the ID card goes a long way, but with the kits, we can't, this is the first outing for Rotary. So we are still being economical with the utilization of Rotary branding. So please don't go to the field with your end polio t-shirt. If you don't have the kit, wear a mufti, wear normal clothes and put your ID card on your neck. My DG, when it comes to pictures, the only pictures we expect from Rotarians are pictures of themselves, to show that they didn't just concoct data from anywhere and report to show that they were in the field. So let me use this opportunity to advise Rotarians on this call. We'll also announce it, that pictures you are expected to take and send to us are selfie pictures. You know, if you're sending us picture from XYZ polling unit, we expect to see pictures of yourself or your team or whomever you are there with that is a Rotarian wearing the same kit with you or otherwise on the field, you know, not the pictures of the voters. We don't have business with the voters. We saw on the chat someone asking about overvoting. Overvoting is not our business. We are looking at, we are observing with the peace lens, like the Mighty Man rightly said. So we are interested in inclusivity. We're interested with the peaceful conduct of the election. We're interested with whether persons with disabilities and disadvantages are well integrated and carried along. Issues of overvoting will be taken care of by party agents, which we are not. We're apolitical and we must remain that way. My DG Mighty Man, please, I hope our position on the picture is taken. And also you didn't respond to the request to create an external platform aside from the general platform we have. Some are saying that they need an external platform so that they could be swift communication and swift picture sending to keep abreast with happenings in the immediate state. We need your feedback.
Yeah, Pietro, that will depend on the lead observer in the state, because when they went to ENEC for the briefing, I saw a few pictures going around in the club chat rooms and all of that. But you know, just to close out together, so you know what's looking after one another. For me, I don't think it helps to do that. The lead observer, Rotary observer can open that and then connect all observers that are in each of the states, you know, so they can use that to communicate. So please do not move around. Don't move around. That's my advice. Stay in one. Do the observation and leave it. Don't move around because you have a whole local government. We are not monitors. One observation that fills the form is good enough for this purpose.
Okay, well noted. We shall also emphasize that on the platform. Thank you very much, my DG, for your support, encouragement, and advices. My ICT chair, your hand have been up. Please make your intervention pretty quickly so that Peace Zonal Coordinator Miriam can give the vote of thanks.
Just a conclusion on the pictures. I think you have actually said things about the picture. That means just selfie and then maybe just showing that we were actually there, we attended, but not the crowd. Yes, we agree. The link for the pictures has been uploaded. You cannot each person cannot upload more than 10 pictures. We're even trying to see if I can reduce it to 5 pictures at max. So that's the capacity we can take, maybe maximum of 10 pictures per form. So just that, and if you refresh your page now,
please make it 3 or 5 maximum.
Okay, 5.
Yes,
so
please.
let's work with 3 or 5. So I just want to let us know that we have that capacity. We have the form can now carry pictures. You can now upload pictures.
Okay, thank you very much, my action chair. Please don't forget other suggestions for pregnant women, elderly, and not available or not applicable.
Okay, I'll note that. I'm noting that now.
Thank you very much, sir. Peace Zonal Coordinator for North Central Rotary and Miriam Ahmed, please give a vote of thanks to DG Mighty Man and other DGs, DG and Wole and PDG James and everyone on the call so that we can bring this to a closure. The time is fast spent.
Okay, thank you. It's been wonderful being in the house here and gaining experience, learning new things, and focusing on tomorrow. I'm sure we build a capacity that tomorrow would be able to measure up well. Let me first of all thank our DGs who have been able to give us this platform, who have supported us from start to this point, our PDGs in the house, and to you, Pietro, who has been up and doing. The Lord is your strength. More grace to you. And every other observer that is in the house, it's my prayer that tomorrow God will grant us the grace. It's a Nigeria we're all looking up to. And like Pietro said, our ADS said, more of the security consciousness. We should be wise while on the field, not just observing the electoral process, but our environment, because we do not know what trouble people may foment, but we should be wise above everything we do. Thank you very much once again for everyone who has been part of this. And our prayer is that tomorrow, when we come back with our stories by Tuesday, would make you all proud. Thank you once again for giving us the opportunity to serve in this capacity and looking up to a very good outing tomorrow. Do have a very good, pleasant night rest to all of you. And especially to you, Pietro, try and rest because I know you'll be up and doing tomorrow. For all our state contacts, please give us 2 lines that if we have issues, we can reach you, please, please. So on this note, I want to say thank you once again to everyone.
Thank you very much, by Peace Zonal Coordinator. Every Peace Zonal Coordinator on this platform and state peace chairs are well acknowledged. IPDS, Billy Cord, we are well acknowledged, sir. Lieutenant Governor Dan Tatandus and others, so many of you on the call, you are well acknowledged. FCT Peace Coordinator Felicity Joga, you are acknowledged. Good night, everyone. Good night, my DG, my team, man. Thanks for your intervention. Good night, DG and Wole Kukoyi. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everybody. I appreciate you all. Please apply wisdom tomorrow when you go out. God bless you all.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
DGE, I heard your voice.
I mean, I don't know, acknowledge me. I said,
you know, it's not possible.
Even Pietro not acknowledge me. I will block you.
He acknowledged you. When you just sneak in through the back door, I don't understand.
My peace chair, my peace chair.
DG, thank you for that advice. DG, mighty